this is Farshid with another video just for you. Today I want to take a look at the Glacier Bay, their faucet for the sink. I'll take it apart and show you what parts you need to replace in order to stop that dripping. So here you can see it's a Glacier Bay faucet, and they've done a nice job of putting together a parts breakdown, which will go through and identify each one and figure out which one actually causes the problem with the dripping. So as you can tell, I've taken the faucet apart, but in order to get a understanding of how this faucet actually works, I'll go ahead and take this side apart step by step, and then we'll take a look at what components we need to replace in order to stop the dripping and save you some money. So needless to say, the water to the faucet needs to be turned off. If you have a valve under the sink, the valve needs to be shut off, and if you don't, it's unfortunate, but you have to turn the water off at the main, at the outside of the house. So the first thing we take off is the knob with a Phillips head screwdriver. Now this one is missing a cap. There's usually a cap on the top which identifies the cold side and the hot side. The cap, you can just take a small screwdriver, pop it underneath the cap, and the cap will come right off. Then take a screwdriver and loosen the screw, and the knob will come right off. So once you have the knob taken off, then we're facing what they call a bonnet nut. You can use a wrench to take this off. Obviously I've taken this and loosened it, so it comes right off. So once we take the nut off, pay close attention to the orientation of this cartridge. You notice that there is a arc on this side over here, so this is facing the center of the faucet. So this comes right out, and I'll give you a tip at the end of the video that will save you a fair amount of money. Then next thing what we have here, which we're going to leave alone, is a little gasket here that sits. I've taken one off here. This gasket, let's see what they call it. They call it number 5, which they call the washer. So it would be a washer in this case. Then here's where we identify the component that actually is going to give you the most amount of trouble. And once you replace it, in most cases, it will stop the dripping. If you can look inside here, you'll see that there is what's referred to as a seat. Now underneath the seat, we have what's referred to as the spring. Now pay close attention to the spring itself. I'm going to lay this down so you can see it. You can see that the spring has a narrow side and a wide side. And as you notice, when we pulled this spring out from under the seat, it was sitting in there. Oh, there you go. The surface is not level. There we go. Sitting in there under it. And this is called a seat. It's basically a cup. So your spring sits inside the cup, just like this. This is the set that you want to replace whenever you get in a drip out of the faucet. And I'll give you the part number and down below so you can purchase. And usually you get a set of these. So I say set, meaning 2 sets of these, one for each side. So this would be your cold side, this would be the hot side. If you're interested, the way this thing actually works is pretty simple. there is a hole that passes through. Let's see if you can find it here. There we go, right there. And that's where the water comes in. And the job of this spring and seat is to stop that water whenever you don't want it. The way it works is the water pressure hits behind this seat, pushes the seat up, and seals the opening in the center of the seat against this stainless steel piece that is part of our cartridge. So they mate together just like this. So their water pressure is where my pinky is, pushing toward our cartridge. The cartridge is captive using our bonnet nut. So it pushes this way, so those two forces cause a nice seal. So as the surface of the seat wears, now you have uneven surfaces and they're not watertight, therefore you're going to have a water leak. Or where you have hard water deposit built up in this area, you'll have the same issue. You don't have smooth surfaces between the two sealing surfaces, then you're going to have a water leak. In those cases, there are two options. One, they also sell the cartridge. You can replace the cartridge. Or I found that you can take the cartridge, soak it in CLR for 2-3 minutes, and gets rid of the hot water deposits, as long as the stainless steel surface is not pitted. Then you get a good seal between the two. As I mentioned, I was going to give you a tip. Most of these parts actually have a lifetime warranty. So if you call Glacier Bay, which is a private label product for Home Depot, they'll send you a replacement. And if you want to get by and avoid dripping until the part shows up, one way to take care of that is, once you have this apart, you can use some of this waterproof grease, put it on the surface of the seat. That will buy you some time and seal the surfaces and prevent the dripping. So now that you've seen how this thing works, let's go ahead and put it back together. I will always use some sort of waterproof grease, and I'll put the part number down in the description below for this product that I use. So we put it in the reverse order, and here's a tip on how to easily assemble the seat and the spring. So first we put a little bit of this grease on our seat. Here's our spring. You can put a screwdriver right in the middle of that seat and the spring. Take the tip of the screwdriver, put it in where the seat and the spring go. You can just feel your way. I can't see it because I'm trying to show you guys on the camera, but here we go. There. That's one of the easiest way to put that in, instead of trying to use your fingers and fit everything in place, which is a little challenging. So the next step is keeping in mind that the orientation, as I mentioned on this, and again, doesn't hurt to put a little bit of a grease on this. Now, one thing I did not show you, which most likely you don't have to take apart and you don't have to disturb, if there's no water leaking from the center of the stem. If there's water coming out from the center of the stem, which goes into the knob, there's another O-ring in here, rather. There it is right there. So the job of that O-ring is to seal the water from coming out of the center of the stem over here. So if you see that, then you can lubricate that, and you can tell this has already been lubricated. Lubricate that, or you can replace it, or you can replace the entire cartridge. And as I mentioned, These do have a lifetime warranty on them. So put that back in. This serves as a seal against water coming out from the sides. So you have one that prevents the water from coming from the center where the stem is, and then one on the side, and then one main one that's inside. So again, we'll put this in. Notice that there is a tab that matches with the notch. You got it on each end, on each side, I should say, like that. Now you can tell that our spring is in pretty good shape because it's really pushing back. So that's a good sign. That's what you want. Actually, I think it popped out. Nope, we're good. Okay. All right. So we'll put that back in. Then we put our washer in, like that. Then we put our bonnet nut. Put that in. I don't have a wrench here because I took this apart earlier. Take your wrench, tighten this up. And they also sell these nuts. If you happen to mess up the nut or disturb the finish of it, and if you want to get it back to its original new condition, they do sell the nuts. And I'll put the part number down below for these nuts as well. And then we have this knob that goes on like that. And then you put your cap back on. So here's one more thing to consider while you have all this stuff taken apart and you're taking care of the leak. It wouldn't hurt to take off what's called an aerator. It simply unscrews from the faucet tip, and then once you've taken it out, I left some of the debris in there so you can see. This is some of the stuff that this aerator catches. It has two functions. One is filter. The other function is to mix air and water together. Again, reduces the water consumption. And you can get these to have ratings. So 1.5 GPM, gallons per minute. So it gives you 1.5 gallons per minute. And then again, with the air and the water mixture together, the flow looks nice, and you again save some water. This is how this part disassembles. The seal here, again, it wouldn't hurt to lubricate this one. You put it back in there. Here's your filter. So what I usually do is I turn this around this way and expose this side to water pressure to get all the debris out of it. And you can also do the same thing here. You can see this is a hard water deposit. Throw it into CLR for a minute or two. It turns out to be it'll turn out looking brand new. Same with this here. All the stuff here comes right off. This is all hard water deposit. We're in Texas, so we have a fair amount of that. Put it back together like this. Don't forget your gasket, and be careful as you screw these in, because you are, in this case, this is a metal part, and you're going screwing into a plastic. So you make sure that starts out nice and smooth, and then put a little bit of an effort. And as long as that seal inside is in good shape, the only place the water should come out would be here, not on the back side. There you have it. I hope this information was helpful. If you like what you see out of this channel, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button and hit the notification so you get notified every time I put out a new video. And if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I do appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. How this bad boy looks like when it is fully disassembled. So the way these are put together by our fellow factory workers is pretty, it's a pretty nice simple design actually. So here's how all this comes out. Here are these parts here. Here's the gasket that seals. Here's the nut that holds the whole assembly against the countertop, gasket that seals against the countertop. That's the front side of it, just like that. And then the way the rest of the stuff comes apart, as we saw at the aerator. Here's the aerator, it's out. And there's that right there. And the way the rest of the assembly comes apart is just like this. That's a little support piece. There you go. Something out of a Star Trek. That's what it looks like, doesn't it? That's all, folks. Thank you for watching.